My name is Liam and I frequent movies, and today I frequented a movie called The Suicide Squad. Written and directed by James Gunn, The Suicide Squad 2021 is a remake slash reboot slash pseudo-sequel slash whatever the fuck to one of the worst comic book movies ever created. I don't care if the extended edition is better, I'm not wasting another second on that piece of shit of a movie, especially now that James Gunn has improved on the concept in every single way. I'm getting ahead of myself. With me today is the specimen known as Kirky. So, Kirky, tell me, what did you think of The Suicide Squad?
Well, Lartley, I thought it was real good.
Real good? How good?
Like, pretty great, honestly.
Yeah.
In terms of superhero movies, I think that it's one of the better ones in the last few years. Probably the best one since Spider-Verse.
Wow, okay. Don't know if I'd go that far, but I also can't think of anything else that would go above it, so I don't know. Definitely not as good as Spider-Verse.
See, I can't agree, but I can't disagree.
Yes. It's an awful paradox I've trapped you in now, haven't I?
Great. Wait, I'm trapped in it.
I mean, maybe. I guess we're trapped in together. So the Suicide Squad follows the Suicide Squad. It's a squad of DC villains, but not the upper class ones.
The D tier,
low
bottom
tier,
of the barrel.
Low tier DC villains are being sent on a mission to get their sentences reduced, where they will probably die is the setup. And this movie does a hell of a lot better job right from the outset than the 2016 movie of establishing just what those stakes are.
Yeah, the opening sequence. You know what the movie is all about.
From the word go, it's very good at inspiring that sense of dread, and also being real funny. Unfortunately for me, the biggest downside of the movie is that I think it peaks in the opening sequence.
I would disagree, but at the same time, I wouldn't put down the opening sequence because it is such a great way to start the movie. In terms of its comedy, its violence, setting the mood, I think it's pretty great. I wouldn't say it's the best part of the movie.
Not to denigrate the entire movie, I think the rest of the movie is also pretty good. Mm-hmm. I just think the opening sequence is sort of exactly what I would have liked for the entire movie to be.
Yeah.
And it's close. It's close to the rest of the movie.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I didn't get that. I just kind of had a very consistent enjoyment of the movie.
There was never a point where I thought this is bad or that this is even mediocre. Just a few points where I thought this could be more. This could be as extreme as the opening sequence got.
Yeah. Like it to go a bit further in a few places.
Because if there were more characters throughout the movie, I think it would have been better. If there was just more opportunities for characters to be nixed.
Yeah.
Right from the outset. One thing I think would have been really interesting is if there were a bunch of like A-lister actors and they were there for most of the movie, but it was actually, and there was a combination of them and the D-listers, which is what the movie was, a combination of big names and small names. And if it was only the small names that were alive by the end of the movie.
I think that would have been interesting in like a meta context.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would have like necessarily aided the movie, at least for me.
But to me, the movie invokes a lot of the meta context of it, though, with the whole Suicide Squad concept being rebooted. It's not explicitly stated at any point, but there is a sort of an underlying meta commentary about superhero movies and DC and the concept being done before already.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't deny that.
The Suicide Squad is an established concept in the universe. They say, you know the deal, you gotta go on a mission, you get 10 years up.
They don't waste any time with, Amanda Waller, establishing what her idea is. It's just kind of like...
Everyone already kind of knows what it is. Some of them have already been on a Suicide Squad before. And it is implied that the first one happened because Rick Flag, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, they already know each other. So, unless they met through some entirely unrelated circumstance before the movie, the first Suicide Squad still happened.
Wish it didn't.
I want you to enter the city, rescue HVT-1, and get them to safety.
I'm sorry, for those of us who don't speak good guy, what is HVT-1?
But Margot Robbie and Jai Courtney were among the better parts of the original in the sense that there was a germ of something that could have been good.
I can't believe that Jai Courtney, literally one of the worst actors in Hollywood at the moment, was the best part of that movie.
I was very much wondering how they were going to balance so many big names at once, and such an enormous cast.
And I think that's why I didn't have a problem that it kind of like got rid of a bunch of people at the beginning, and that was like the setting the tone, as opposed to your idea of like having more people kind of getting disposed of as the movie is going along.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to, you know your main cast, you know your main characters, and it doesn't get bloated, and you...
Yeah, it's annoying because I'm trying to kind of have the best of both worlds with, with what I want with this.
It would be really tricky to do it like that.
Yeah.
To do it well.
Because what they did was really clever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a couple things where it's like I still kind of saw what was going to happen in a lot of scenes.
Yeah. We should talk a little bit about the action.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was really good.
Action was pretty
really
solid,
entertaining. Once again, had that great blend of comedy. And each sequence had a gimmick that would make the scene more interesting. Like, it's not just action, it's not just like lots of blood, lots of gore. There was like a framing device to each sequence that made it really stand out from other superhero movies. There's the one in the camp where they're competing. There's the one where it starts off, and your first point of view is through the reflection of the helmet.
Oh yeah, that was the money shot.
Yeah.
That looked great.
It was
Very clever.
so good. Just a lot of great ideas executed very well, and I think that makes this movie stand out.
Pretty great soundtrack as well. Not as like peppy as Guardians of the Galaxy or anything, but certainly not as poorly utilized as the 2016 movie.
The reason the music in Guardians works so well is because it has like, you know, a story element. There is a reason for it.
It's mostly diegetic. James Gunn has become known for, you know, compiling good songs, not original music, but pre-existing songs, and putting them into his movies.
Yeah, and it just elevates. It just elevates the movie.
Yeah,
you know, a good soundtrack does not a movie make, because with the other movie,
very good songs.
Great songs. Horrible in context.
Harley Quinn.
The editing in this movie was good. It was fine.
Yeah, for the most part. I didn't really have an issue with it. More than can be said for the 2016 movie. Yes. I mean, if we spend a lot of time comparing it to the 2016 movie, we're going to be here all day. Because I'll just say now, as a movie, I think this is pretty. I think the Suicide Squad 2021 is pretty solid. I think it's a good movie. When compared to the 2016 movie, it improves on absolutely every element.
Oh, well, it's the difference between being a failure and being a success.
I think now is the time to just get into spoilers.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, watch it because it's really good. We're gonna talk about everything, basically.
Yeah. So from the outset, there's the opening scene where we are introduced to what we think is the protagonist in Michael Rooker's character, Safran, which, by the way, good job actually making me like kind of give a shit about that character. Good job casting Michael Rooker, like he was a great choice there. And then, well, then they all die. That's the opening sequence.
It's really good. It sets up the A team and the B team. And basically, most of the A team dies.
Yeah.
And what's so clever about it is the fact that they put Harley Quinn, Rick Flag
in that A team.
In that team.
Because you see, like, and this is another thing. It's with the marketing. It's always, a movie like this is always kind of undercut by its marketing, because you see that Idris Elba is, you know, got second billing, and you see that there's the King Shark and he's not there. They did try to mitigate it by putting Harley Quinn and Rick Flag in that A team. But even so, it would have been really great if we could just ignore how marketing is supposed to work and just be like, yeah, Michael Rooker and Pete Davidson and front and center. This is the Suicide Squad.
Would have been nice.
Yeah, it's just a shame that Hollywood has to market itself the way it does.
Don't watch trailers. Never watch trailers.
So what I would have liked is if the B team maybe had like a couple more members and they were like big names. And that by the end, those big names are dead.
Yeah.
Idris Elba is also dead. Because he's again set up as being the main character. He died like right towards the end, like with a proper arc and everything. And John Cena, you know, what happened to him can stay the same pretty much.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm using the actor names again.
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker is...
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport is dead. Peacemaker has the same thing that happens to him in the movie happen, where you know, there's the post-credit scene and everything. That's fine. And the only people that are left alive, Polka Dot Man and Ratcatcher 2.
the one thing...
And Mega Shark can stay alive. Sorry, King Shark. I'm thinking of the Meg.
How could you not?
Right. I know, that movie's left such a strong cultural impact. So yeah, that would be sort of my ideal outcome is just D-listers that make it to the end. Because one, you're helping their careers more. You know, A-listers, this is the kind of movie that you can use to bolster new talent.
Yeah.
And they did.
It already does that too.
I really loved Ratcatcher 2. And
we agree that she's the best character?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. King Shark, like I expected to like him a little bit more than I did.
I kind of loved him.
He's a lovable character. I was expecting it to be a repeat of Groot, where Groot was easily my favorite character in Guardians of the Galaxy. King Shark had some funny moments, but I was never blown away by how funny or likable I found him.
Probably Sylvester Stallone's best performance to date. Probably.
Okay. Not sure I agree.
Not sure you're right.
It's a good utilization of Sylvester Stallone, I'll give you that.
Yeah, like I said, it's his best performance to date.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah. If there's one thing I didn't like about this movie, because I loved how many people died, right? Polka Dot Man's death was a joke and not a funny one.
It's annoying because when Polka Dot Man was introduced, I thought to myself, this is a character that's going to die. He's going to die, later because he's in the V team. But he is going to die. And they're setting it up that he's suicidal. And then it got to later in the movie, and I was thinking to myself, I really like this character. And he's been set up as the character that's most likely to die. I really hope he doesn't die now, even though he probably will. I was hoping that he wouldn't. He died in pretty much exactly the way you'd expect. As a joke. As he's got a new lease on life and then he dies.
Yeah.
And that's disappointing to me. As I say, if it was Bloodsport that had died, that would have been a subversion of my expectations, and I would have enjoyed it more because Polka Dot Man taking that mantle up would have actually been really cool. Not the mantle of Bloodsport, but taking up the mantle of being sort of the decoy protagonist all along would have been pretty great.
See, I don't have a problem with the fact that he dies. I liked him a lot. He was one of my favorite characters in the movie. I don't actually have a problem that he died in the end. It's just how he dies.
Oh, the execution is bad as well.
It's the most obvious joke you could have done, and considering how funny the movie is, consistently funny it is, it was a real letdown to just kind of feel like this unceremonious death for one of the characters that, the whole internet has been rooting for.
Yeah, pretty much.
We are definitely not the only ones that are upset with how...
I haven't really looked into it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Story ended.
Because Polka Dot Man is just a character that is quite relatable for a lot of people as well.
And it had that really funny ongoing joke with everyone being his mum.
Being his mum, yeah. And they escalated that, and then they just fucking nixed him, just killed him off, and it was frustrating.
I'm not saying I would have wanted him to have had a more cliche, heroic death, but something that doesn't feel like a slap in the face.
I just wish he hadn't died. For a movie that was overall pretty good at throwing me for loops, most predictable thing they could have done.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the only thing that I unfortunately called as I was watching it.
The only other thing that I found weakened the movie a little bit, and it wasn't that the sequence was executed bad. In fact, the execution is what saved it.
Yeah.
It's just that Harley Quinn has so many times where you should be dead and you're not.
Yeah, no, she's got plot armor.
She's got so much plot armor. She's got Joker immunity. She's inherited it from the Joker.
Studio will keep her alive forever.
Of course, but that doesn't matter so much to me. What matters is that you keep putting her in situations where logically there's 50 people with guns and she's mowing them all down.
Yeah.
It's just, if you do that, you undercut your own movie. In other movies, it's fine, but in a movie like this, where the whole point is any character can die at any time, we've introduced these A-listers and killed them off immediately. When there's one character that clearly can't die, you make your movie more predictable. And it's okay if you don't want to kill that character off. Just put her in less situations where she should be dead. Which there are. That was my problem. It reminded me of Birds of Prey, and that was one of my biggest problems with Birds of Prey as well.
Yeah.
Was that she just had, she just got out of every situation with relative ease. Did kind of save itself again with the execution because it was very stylized and very interesting, and I liked that. And at the end, it caps it off with a pretty nice joke where the guys are trying to break in, and she's like, "Oh, I could go back in."
Yeah.
I liked all that. It's just, undercut the realism of the movie. And I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say for this movie, but it undercut the realism that it was trying to get across.
Yeah.
The level of realism it was trying to establish.
To me, it was a very minor thing. I can totally understand where you're coming from, but because the sequences were so good with her, I didn't care that I knew that she wasn't gonna die, you know?
Yeah, that can be the case, and for other movies I would say that's the case. It's just this movie specifically is so predicated on the idea that anyone can die.
I guess I just don't really have that problem. But like, I do see where you're coming from.
One thing that I think is worth noting is that sequence where they're killing the freedom fighters off. Do you think that scene was supposed to be a commentary on American interventionism? Because people seem to think it is, and people seem to be then applying that logic to the rest of the movie and saying, Jesus, this is a bad commentary because
I think.
Oh look, we've just killed off a bunch of foreigners and found out that they were freedom fighters. Let's continue to indiscriminately kill people.
I think, haha, the funny bad people accidentally killed good people. Haha, they suck at being good. They suck at their job.
Fair enough. I can't fault you there. I've just found some discussion on this.
I'm not. So that's, food for thought. Food for thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think every now and again it does get a little too big for its boots with the premise it's trying to get across. It's better when it's just stupid action and cynical comedy. Every now and again it seems like Gunn is going for something a little bit bigger, and it doesn't really work. I don't think.
Hey man, let's not get political. Let's not get political.
Let's not get political. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is this movie getting political, or is it just fucking around? What has a point and what doesn't? Because a lot of the movie just doesn't have a point. That's fine. But if you try to introduce a point and you don't really follow up on it,
I think that there is a big point which can't not be seen as like a political commentary, and that's the whole twist that there's information that they can't let leak that America was behind the Starro thing.
Yeah.
And for me that worked. I don't know. I haven't been thinking about it. I've been thinking about King Shark ripping a dude in half. I haven't been thinking about the political side of the movie.
But that's the thing. There is politics there.
Yeah.
And if they're not executed well.
But I don't know about the fucking the camp scene so much. But definitely there.
Yeah. Well, I think they kind of feed into each other.
Yeah, I guess
we're sending these people in for the wrong reasons. Is the main point.
As a political commentary, it's very basic, but it's not out of place in the movie.
I suppose that could be the case.
Yeah, I mean, I'm focusing on, funny action sequence.
Yeah, funny action sequence.
Right. Anything else?
I really liked Calendar Man.
Shut up! Whoa! I know that character. I know that guy. Yeah, I liked this movie a lot. I loved it. In fact,
I liked this movie a lot. That's the end of that sentence for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, I'm not gonna say that it's a game changer because it isn't, and people that are saying that are fucking morons. But in terms of the superhero formula, it is one of the most refined, entertaining movies to date.
It does its concept very well.
Yeah.
It gets
and that's
across
all
everything
I wanted
it
from
wants to do. I just don't think it wants to do anything particularly spectacular. And that's why, to me, it's a 7 out of 10. It's a solid, good movie.
For me, it's a 9. I can't deny that I loved it.
Fair enough.
Justice for Polka Dot Man.
Well, it is things like Polka Dot Man, like the Joker immunity on Harley.
That brings it down to a 7.
That's and also just in general, it being a solid, good movie that does does what it wants to do without wanting to do anything especially spectacular. All of that leads to it being a 7 for me.
But definitely check it out.
Yes,
Great movie.
absolutely. Solid recommendation from both of us.
The movie is flopping.
What did you think of Weasel?
Who? That's what I want. That's the end of that conversation. Because everyone's talking about Weasel. And if you include me ranting about everyone talking about Weasel, I'm going to unsubscribe from the Lartley. Okay, I will do it. I will do it. I will comment on your video that I unsubscribed and you can pin it. Okay? So that everyone
Well, now you're baiting me to include it.